host, Anita Blanton, and I'll be with you through 4 p.m. So let's talk a little bit about what we're getting into in this first hour that we have here together. Around 1:45, we're going to call on our good friend Casey Cronus here at the station, who is going to talk to us about a story that has really made the rounds online. So many people who are, chatting about it. It's been trending. A local establishment here for nightlife that has decided, hey, 21 and up just doesn't weed out some of the issues that a lot of places experience. So they have made the decision, the executive decision, to go to 23 and up. Now, does 21 versus 23, does it have a difference on the frontal lobe? I don't know if it's fully formed in just those next 2 years, but they have kind of a breakdown of their decision, and we're going to talk to her about it. A lot of people online are saying at the very least it should have been 25 and up. I think there's some validity to that, but maybe they're kind of going in small increments here as to not just alienate people, or to even find out how people would respond up front to any type of change. On the other half, of course, you have some young people who are like, wait a minute. Why do we have to be the generation that's called out and said that we're the problem causers, and there's something to be said for that as well. So we'll get into all of that with Casey Cronus coming up at 1:45. It's one of those things where you kind of would wish that there's something for everybody, but they have their reasons for doing what they're doing. We'll talk about it. Also, we're going to talk with a Sumo Championship League participant. This is really interesting and rare opportunity that we have. I've never spoken with a sumo wrestler before. I've obviously seen him on TV, seen him online before, but this will be something different. We're going to talk with an entertainment expert who is talking about the Sumo Championship League today, officially announcing the launch of their new professional sumo league, built for sports fans, of course, and I don't know. I guess it gives a brand new opportunity for people to check something out that you rarely get to see in person. I mean, obviously, there were thousands of people out at the UFC match on the White House lawn over the weekend. So maybe sumo will become the next big thing. We shall see. And obviously, we'll get into the threats that were made, the plot that was foiled for the UFC match as well within our time frame here together today. Not necessarily shocking in this day and age. Really glad, though, that the FBI received a tip from the mother of at least one of the suspects, one of the persons of interest involved in this, that kind of led to everything unfoiling there. So the FBI doing what the FBI honestly does best, which is preventing things from happening. And getting that message across that if you see something, to say something, even if it is somebody that you love, that you could not only be protecting them, but protecting thousands of other people that were sitting out there for a celebration and for a sporting event. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Again, sumo is the conversation, but later in the hour, of course, and in our time here, we'll get into the UFC match and the threats as well. World Refugee Day, that's another big topic that we've got to talk about. There are calls for renewed commitment to refugee protection and resettlement. Huge talker in a time period right now where there is so much scrutiny of welcoming policies. What does that look like in the future? Will that change at all to be stricter or just more defined? We'll see. But, we have a resettlement services senior manager who's going to talk about Chicago's longstanding legacy and trying to preserve that. We look forward to that conversation, but first and foremost, we're waiting on a conversation about, it's really a follow-up to a story that we've been following since March. And if you've been with us here on Chicago Live, we've become quite invested in this story about Ridgeland Farms in Wisconsin, this facility that was breeding and raising dogs for the purpose of lab testing and other things of that nature. And there were thousands of dogs there. Over time, protesters who had been beating that drum that, humane issues that were happening there. They took matters into their own hands at one point in time. We spoke with one of the protesters who said, yeah, we did what we had to do. I mean, right or wrong, they felt like they were trying to save these dogs. And shortly after that, 1,500 of the beagles that were there were then dispersed. They were released and dispersed to rescues throughout the country. We've spoken to some of the advocates that were out in Washington, D.C., even on Capitol Hill, as they were, talking to lawmakers, trying to make change, because it's not just Ridgeland Farms where this type of practice is happening. It's also, there's another facility. I mean, if Ridgeland Farms had a few thousand, this other facility in upstate New York had like 10 to 20,000. And so there's new information here that Ridgeland Farms has confirmed a sale and donated the remaining dogs. Huge. We have Wayne Purcell, president for the Center for a Humane Economy, who is joining us. Wayne, how are you feeling? I mean, we've checked in with you multiple times. What does today feel like?
Well, listen, you are on it. You are so thorough in covering this story. We're grateful. I'm elated. Yesterday, the announcements came from us at the Center for Humane Economy and also from Big Dog Ranch Rescue that Ridgeland Farms, this Wisconsin-based laboratory breeding supplier, breeding animal supplier that specializes just in beagles, is going to shutter its operations. It's going to shut down. And as you said, there were 1,500 dogs that we obtained in the first negotiated agreement that the Center for Humane Economy had with Ridgeland Farms and Big Dog Ranch. And then we got an additional 135 dogs. So that made 1,635. Yesterday, it was announced that Ridgeland was going to release 475 additional dogs to Big Dog Ranch. So that makes about 2,100 dogs. That should be it for Ridgeland. No more dogs there. And the company told us, our lawyer, Joseph Good, who's an attorney based in Milwaukee, spoke to the Ridgeland Farms attorney, its counsel, and he said that after those last dogs in July or August are sent over to your teams, then that will be it. The company will close. So that is an incredible celebratory moment for us. This has been a years-long concern. It's a 60-year-old company. So if you think about the life of this company operating for 60 years, selling thousands of dogs a year, you're talking hundreds of thousands of beagles went from Ridgeland to university labs, could be the University of Chicago or, Michigan State, or it could be Merck or AstraZeneca and other pharmaceutical companies. It could be contract labs. That's all going to end, at least from this company. So it's a really big moment in the history of animal welfare.
It is massive. It really is. And it's been, such a journey from even what we have been watching over the last several months. I mean, I am like blown away. We hear quite often about people on missions to do certain things out of the goodness of their hearts, but rarely do we see action like this in the time frame that we're reporting on it. This really has been a domino effect over the last 3 months. And, when you initially had the 1,500, Ridgeland was still going to stay in business. They just weren't going to breed anymore. So, what do you think it was that said, listen, we're just going to close up shop?
Yeah. Well, listen, it's hard to know when you're in it what the tipping point is. But I think you rightly noted, when Ridgeland turned over 1,500 of its roughly 2,000 to 2,200 dogs, that was a signal to me. And that's why we initiated at the Center for Humane Economy in February discussions directly with Ridgeland. We knew that their business model was failing. And it's failing because there was one really important moment. So you ask what a key factor was. there was evidence that there were concerns about the treatment of the dogs at Ridgeland, beyond the broader ethics of should we be feeding these submissive, docile, beautiful beagles into laboratory testing for painful and invasive experiments. There were concerns about animal care. So a special prosecutor in Wisconsin was put on the case, and his name is Tim Grunke. And Mr. Grunke negotiated an agreement with Ridgeland. Rather than bringing criminal charges, felony charges, and having fines and other forms of punitive action, he worked out an agreement with Ridgeland that it would leave aside its state license to sell dogs to other facilities. That was the core business of Ridgeland, was they were a dog breeder.
Mm-hmm.
Then they would sell to pharmaceutical companies, to university labs, and other contract testing laboratories. We knew that at that point, when Grunke had that arrangement, that business model was going to fail. So I thought, if we could even buy the dogs, we're not going to be enriching this company that's doing something that's at odds with our values, but that we would prevent a fire sale by Ridgeland Farms, selling the dogs to these contract labs for $50 or $25 a dog, just trying to get rid of their so-called inventory. So we paid considerably more than that, but we were happy to do it because we had so many supporters that were so anxious to see these dogs get into great homes. So I think it was that special prosecutor's decision that really upended the business model. And then it was the protests, as you noted. It was our negotiation and our giving the company a pathway to kind of get out of this, but also, to get a little money out of the process. I wouldn't have wanted to give them a dime if they were going to stay in this business. But if I knew they had a very short runway of staying in business, then we were willing to deal with the company to get the beagles out. And that's exactly what's happened.
Now, do you think that this will lead to changes in lab testing? Because that's a whole nother part of the full operation.
Well, for us at the Center for Humane Economy, we care about all those dogs, of course, but Ridgeland's dogs represent about 1/20th of all dogs used in testing in the United States of America. So you noted there's a second big operation, much larger than Ridgeland, called Marshall Bioresources in Wayne County, New York. That's upstate New York. It has at least 20,000 beagles. It also has apparently 10,000 cats and a whole bunch of ferrets as well. So this will be a really important pivot for the animal welfare community to move toward Marshall Bioresources and to try to replicate our success with Ridgeland Farms. The other theater of action is in the United States Congress and also at the National Institutes of Health. The NIH, as it's known, is the largest grant maker for biomedical research in the world. Billions and billions of dollars, perhaps 40% of the $50 billion that it spends is for protocols and research projects that involve the use of animals. That's 107,000 primates. It's 42,000 dogs a year overall that are used in the United States, and the grant making is a big piece of that. We want NIH and Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. of Health and Human Services to say, we're not going to fund any research protocols that involve the use, frankly, of dogs, cats, or primates. There's no excuse for using the primates either. And frankly, there's no excuse for using any animals in testing because it has proved very unreliable and not predictive of the human reaction to drugs, nor of the human reaction to disease. So we have 21st century strategies. We have organs on a chip, we have organoids, we have computational toxicology, we have artificial intelligence. We have a raft of alternatives that have been developed over the decades with incredible acceleration of innovation in human biology. We want to use human relevant testing strategies. We have those. We're basically relying, because of muscle memory, on the 1930s strategy. 1930s strategy, that's when the 1938 Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetics Act was passed. And there was a concern if we are developing drugs and putting them out into the patient pool, that people are going to be harmed. They're going to be killed. They're going to be debilitated in some way. So we had to have a proxy. So in the 1930s and the Depression era, perhaps animals were the best proxy we had at the time, given where we were with the development of technology. Fast forward 95 years, we have alternatives, and they have to be used. They must be used. We have a moral imperative to use them, not just for the sake of the animals, but for the sake of the patients. So I think that this combination of our work to pass the FDA Modernization Act 2.0 in Congress to eliminate the animal testing mandate in federal law for all new experimental drugs, and then the protests at Ridgeland heightening awareness, the negotiations that happen behind the scenes, the movement of the dogs, the transfer of them to rescue organizations and animal protection organizations. And frankly, we had a national discussion about the suitability of dogs in laboratory testing. And for the life of me, I don't think I've run into one person who said this is acceptable, one regular person who's not connected to the industry that profits from using these animals. So I think the debate is settled. And I think that Marshall Bioresources is on a very limited time horizon for any successful business operations.
And they have to know that you all are kind of turning your attention to them now after this headline here. Have you had any communication with them where they're saying like, okay, we'll at least come to the table?
It took us a while to get an answer from Ridgeland. They were quite hostile toward animal welfare groups that have been critical of the businesses, of the business operation. We have not directly reached out to Marshall, but certainly we have fired a whole bunch of volleys to let them know where we are on this issue. And I do think that the weight of the animal advocacy community is going to turn to Marshall Bioresources. And I think it's going to take many different forms, but ultimately this has to be settled, because we don't want to have to go company by company, even though there's a small pool of companies in this space. This has to be settled by the Congress to basically not allow any federal funds to be used to support researchers who are relying on these 1930s strategies of hurting animals. And we have to embrace 21st century human relevant science. The National Institutes of Health also can accelerate this by simply establishing an agency policy, an institute policy of not supporting research protocols. Secretary Kennedy can make that announcement at any point, and I hope that he does. He has made a number of very, very positive comments on the issue of his concern for animal welfare, his opposition to needless testing, and his embrace of these new technologies that don't involve the use of animals. But it's got to be done. No more bureaucratic discussion, no more dilly-dallying in the Congress. Let's get it all done, and the Marshall Bioresources issue will be settled.
Wayne, always great speaking with you. Keep us updated on what happens from here.
Grateful for all of your attention to this really important question, and it's had a Chicagoland connection because I know some of the dogs went to Paw Chicago.
Absolutely. There were several rescues in our area. We've been talking with them, so hopefully there's some more, because we know a lot of people wanted to go on wait lists.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for your awareness building.
Absolutely. Take care. All right, everyone. 1:18 right now. Give us 2 minutes and we'll be back with our conversation about World Refugee Day. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Plenty to get to in terms of this conversation about an advocacy event for World Refugee Day and the calls for renewed commitment here within our area as a welcoming city. In the time that we're in. Emily Parker with Resettlement Services, she is a senior manager, is joining me now to talk about solidarity with refugees. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for your time. I'm happy to be here.
Tell me what World Refugee Day means to you this year.
Yeah, this year specifically, I think World Refugee Day is more important than ever. We are seeing an increased need in supporting and celebrating and uplifting refugee and immigrant voices throughout Chicago and throughout our country.
You know, some people look at where we are as a country as a beautiful thing in terms of embracing immigrants and refugees over time. Others, though, will look at a time period, especially under the Biden administration, where maybe the scales tipped too much in terms of immigration policies that really go back even before him. But how do you feel that plays a part into the mood this year?
Well, I think that the mood this year is to continue to say that refugees are welcome in Chicago, that Chicago has so many vibrant refugee and immigrant communities within it that you can go anywhere in this city and see pretty much every country represented. So I think that that's a beautiful thing. And I think that in the Advocacy Day that is happening today, that happened about an hour ago, and in the celebration that's going to be occurring on Saturday, we're seeing so much. I think we're just seeing an increased need this year in celebrating the refugee community and in like all of its beauty and all of its glory, and to attest to the fact that when you are here and when you come here to Chicago, sure, we have values that we hope to see individuals thrive here under the freedoms and liberties that we are afforded as Americans. But we're also here to say that you do not need to leave your culture and your cultural traditions at the door, that bring them in and we will celebrate them. And that specifically art and music, we're here to celebrate it and to learn from it. And so that's what I think the mood this year is to just continue on the path that we have in the past, to continue supporting and to affirm stronger than ever that refugees are welcome here.
Mm-hmm. And how much more pressure is there for people like yourself in this time when the welcoming city policies are under constant attack?
I think it's difficult. I think that we're seeing our refugees and newcomers in Chicago feel as if they are in fact not welcome here at all, even though they are fully acclimating into our communities, that they're contributing, that they're continuing to boost our economy locally. But to see the things that they are working towards and the goals that they are working towards get harder and harder to attain, that's challenging. I think that working in refugee support and refugee services is incredibly difficult right now, because it feels like our goal is to get individuals acclimated into the culture of the United States, into our fabric, and refugees are doing that. And it does feel like there's a pushback now to unacclimate them, to unregularize their situation. And so that is, of course, incredibly challenging to try to work against and try to counteract.
Yeah, what are the services that you all provide?
Yeah, so pertaining to World Refugee Day, we are a volunteer-led group And so we are representing the refugee support community. And so I can only speak on behalf of the organization that I represent
Sure.
and the one that I am coming from, which is Refugee One in Chicago. But we are a coalition of so many refugee and immigrant and newcomer support service agencies from across the spectrum, right? Some of our partner organizations provide medical services. Some of them are medical organizations. Some of them are case management. Some of them provide immigration legal assistance. At Refugee One, we also provide case management, employment services, English classes, wellness services, mental wellness services, and we support newcomers generally in a holistic way to get their life on track and to restart and to start this new chapter as seamlessly as possible.
And you're obviously up close. So, what is it like to change people's lives or help them change their own lives so significantly?
It's wonderful. I mean, it's the most rewarding work I think I have ever done. I think that we see so many individuals try really hard to make their goals realized for them. And I think the United States is a perfect place to do that. We see so many individuals who have worked really hard from so many different places around the world, trying to reach career goals or trying to just make a better life for their children. And we get to see them set those goals, and then we get to say, here's how to do it. The path is maybe not going to be straightforward or easy, but this is something that we can absolutely help you work towards. And so I think it's incredibly rewarding to do when it is properly supported and properly supported and properly funded.
And on that note, how hard is that to keep the funding? Because I mean, you have those who would call out, yes, the refugee aspect of it, but then there's also people even here in Chicago who feel like, well, now wait a minute. There are disinvested neighborhoods in Chicago that aren't getting some of the resources that are afforded to those who are welcomed here, the people who have been living here for many years.
Yeah, I think that of course is something to consider, definitely something to highlight. I think that the services that we provide we're providing them to the community that we're in, and the most of our staff are refugees and immigrants themselves that are supporting the refugee and immigrant population. And so we're staunchly supporting the work that we're doing, and we're happy to do it. And of course, we wish from our corner of things, of course, that the services that we provide, which are baseline, were everywhere. Of course, that would be incredibly beneficial to everybody. And I hope those exist. And I think I would hope that they do.
Emily, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for what you do in changing lives, and we really appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much. Yes, please join us at World Refugee Day celebration at Foster Beach on June 20th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We hope to see you there. It's completely open to the public. So thank you so much.
I'm sure it'll be a beautiful event. Take care.
Take care.
All right, everyone, it's about 1:30, so give us 2 minutes, and we're going to talk about sumo wrestling coming up at the championship level. Okay, welcome back, everyone. It's 1:32. We have a few different things going on. Hopefully, before we get to that discussion about the sumo wrestling, I'm really looking forward to that. Again, I've never seen it up close, only seen it on screen. So I'm looking forward to an entertainment expert to really give us some more explanation about this Sumo Championship League that people are going to be able to participate in and take a look at when it comes around. Let me also tell you, we just got in a statement from the company that is really at the center right now of this parking meter debate here in the city of Chicago. There's so much behind the parking meter possible proposed sale. It's widely felt here in Chicago that the parking meter deal is like one of the worst deals ever for the city. Okay, and so Stone Peak, which was the company that was supposed to be taking it on, I mean the proposed company to take on the debt and move things forward here, just sent in a statement to us about 2 minutes ago. It says, and this is about the finance committee meeting that was supposed to happen yesterday, where they were supposed to present this proposal. They got canceled at the last minute. Says it was quite disappointing to find ourselves unable to present our perspectives on the transaction. Claims about Stone Peak's business and understandable questions of the city council regarding Stone Peak's acquisition of Chicago parking meters. The relationship with the city and its citizens is critical for Stone Peak. We do not want there to be any ambiguity as to our commitment to an open and honest dialogue. Please let it be known, Stone Peak has made every effort from January 2026 to meet, respond to, educate, and engage with the various constituents involved in the approval process and responsible for its result. We have provided answers to all of the Finance Committee's questions received to date. We were present and available at yesterday's meeting, the second which was canceled on late notice after our trip to present. We remain available to thoroughly and transparently answer any questions City Council may have. We trust these will, when given the opportunity, go far to satisfy the concerns of Chicago parking meter stakeholders. A whole new twist, a new voice in terms of what is going on, because last night there were questions as to whether there was some type of strategy, if you will, in terms of canceling that meeting at the last meeting, and Stone Peak saying, hey, we flew out for this particular meeting that was then canceled right before the proposal was supposed to be gone over. All right, so we're going to be talking about that, of course, in the evening shows, but let's get to our next guest that I was talking about moments ago, the Sumo Championship League. We have the CEO, Stuart Snyder, who is with us now. And Stuart, I hear not only, this is super exciting to talk about a Sumo Championship League, but give us a little of your background, because I hear it goes to the WWE?
A little bit, yes. First of all, thank you for having me on.
Sure.
Really appreciate the invitation. Yes, I had the honor and pleasure of working at WW. It was WWF, WWE, where I served as the president and chief operating officer with the company.
Super
bunch
cool.
Of years ago.
Super cool.
Thank
but
you.
That
Thank
gives
you.
you the background of doing something like this. I mean, many people would say, like, who's going to take over? Who's going to start up a Sumo Championship League? So the background helps us to understand.
A little bit, yeah. I've been very fortunate in my career. I've had two amazing experiences in live entertainment. Specifically, I ran another company called Feld Entertainment, which was Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey, Disney on Ice. Had the great fortune of WWE, family entertainment with Cartoon Network and Adult Swim, and the opportunity of launching this new venture is just amazing. Sumo is known across the globe, 1,500 years old sport, and we just want to make it even more popular and grow sumo wrestling here in the U.S. and globally. So we're excited about the venture.
Now, I mean, of all of the things that you could have gotten into, Negs, how did sumo even get on the map?
You know, I have the great fortune. I look at a lot of different businesses and opportunities. The last few years really was in live entertainment with Broadway shows. And I've been looking at the sumo business for about 2 years now. and seeing that there is this great network of sumo wrestlers that are amateur, looking at it in terms of the sports industry, where sports is today, right now, in the media space is sports is having a moment, is the best way to say it. It's the ultimate drama. Look at what's going on with the World Cup. Look at what's happened, with a shout out to the New York Knicks winning the championship and those emotions. Everyone loves watching sports live, and I'm a big believer of people, as much as they love streaming television shows and staying home and watching movies, they're still going out for entertainment. So here is something that I think is intriguing. People have heard of sumo wrestling, but they haven't seen it necessarily, or they've seen a little bit of it. And here is an opportunity that we can launch a professional league with the best talent from the globe, around the world, and go on tour, and bring it to the public in a very much a professional and a fun family entertainment format.
Now, I lived in Japan for a little while as a kid.
Yeah.
We were a military family. Will sumo that we know from that lens be the same in this context?
It'll absolutely, from a competition standpoint, be authentic, real, best way to say it, following rules and so forth to sumo in Japan. We are not adjusting or changing anything from that standpoint. What we will do is package it a little differently, I'm sure. We'll present production values to the live show, and bring a sensibility of an audience for the U.S. audience today. But the sport itself will be authentic, it's real sport, and it will follow all the rules and the guidelines of sumo in Japan.
Is it going to be all men, or are you going to try to have a women's division too?
Boy, have you been reading our notes? So ultimately the answer is yes, there will be women. There are women sumo wrestlers today. And we will start off, though, this year, very first year, with men. And then we will grow. First of all, it will into a women's division. We'll also grow the number of live events that we do a year. And ultimately, we'll grow into what we predict and want to be, which is a sports franchise that is also on streaming, on broadcast or cable, wherever, and so forth, for a television show.
And I mean, is there going to be a weight requirement?
We're not going to have a weight requirement. We are going to have we're going to have open. Right now, we're talking to sumo wrestlers across the world right now, on our website, sumochampionshipleague.com. Anyone who feels they can participate, they can wrestle, they can contact us. But we're not going to have a weight requirement, but we are going to be looking for, obviously, we are talking about sumo wrestling. So I do think that there will be some type of number that will be acceptable at the end of the day. But we are looking to keep it open as much as possible.
Okay. At least weight classes.
Yeah, we are looking at weight classes. We are formatting it, but there also may be just a very much an open competition, because the one thing about sumo is that there are moves to sumo, and it's not always the heaviest wrestlers winning.
Good point.
There are great moves to it. There's strategy. There's offensive, defensive strategy. And I have been to competitions where sometimes the lighter man or woman have won because of a move that they made on another wrestler to move him out of the dojo. So it's not always what the heaviest that you are. It's about the moves and your strategy.
And your hubris, because I'm not getting in that ring with somebody.
Yeah, I want to be very clear.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that either.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it to quote unquote the professionals.
Yeah, you have to truly believe in yourself and your skills for that.
And by the way, I admire everyone who has done this. Throughout my career, I admire creative talent and athletic talent. So I will leave it to the professionals and the folks who know what they're doing.
Okay, so when can we start seeing these? Like, at what stage in this are we?
We are planning our first set of events in fall of this year. So it'll be fall of 2026. We're planning to start one event a month and very quickly go to multiple events. And we'll be getting to a ton of cities over the next first year and the second year. We'll be touring and beyond.
Will you let us know when you're coming to Chicago?
Oh, I can guarantee you, you will know when we're coming to Chicago. That we will tell you.
Looking forward to it. Stuart, wonderful speaking with you. Can't wait to
Thank
see
you
all of
very
this come to
much.
fruition.
Thank you very much for having me today.
All right, take care.
Take care.
It's about 1:43, everyone. I mean, this is going to be awesome, being able to see this. I am a sports lover, and I think there's just something so exciting about being in the midst, in the crowd, aside from just watching it on TV. And so, yeah, if they bring it to Chicago, I might have to see what this is about, but something new for us to take in and take our minds off of so much else. Give us 2 minutes, everyone, and we're going to try to bring in our very own Casey Cronus. She is on quite the talker for the day. Right, 147 right now. Casey Cronus is here with us as we get into the discussion that is all the rage online right now, and that is an age limit for a local establishment for nightlife. You know, typically we hear 21 and up. Now they've gone to 23 and up. Will that make a difference? Casey, let's chat about it.
Hi, Anita. That's right. We are in the West Loop on Randolph near Peoria Street, outside of Goodnight John Boy, which has imposed a 23 and up age restriction. This just went viral online a couple of days ago. Someone took to Instagram after they noticed a brand new sign outside of the establishment sharing this new age limit of 23 and up. It was shared on Reddit, and a lot of people are talking about it. We are in the West Loop right now. We chatted with some passerbys to get their opinion. But coming up here shortly, in about 10 minutes, I will be interviewing the CEO of Forward Hospitality Group to talk about what was behind this decision to implement this new age limit. People online speculating that maybe the crowd just got too rowdy, or perhaps it's to curb underage individuals from trying to get in. We will chat with him ourselves shortly, and we will find out just why they decided to make this change. But mixed opinions on it, Anita.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was one of those things online where typically I'm like, Anita, do not go through the I got sucked into the comments. I mean,
Yep.
I admittedly got sucked into the comments because there are mixed emotions about this. You know, young people who are like, goodness, where are we going to go? Where are we going to go if we're banned from everywhere? And I get that. You know, we were all young once, but then there's the flip side of, yeah, I mean, the older you get, the more you're like, I don't really want to party.
Yeah, no, it's true. And we got pretty much an opinion from all sides. We talked to one man who said, you know, that's too bad. People wait to turn 21 to be able to go to this establishment. His buddy said, I don't agree. This would be nice to actually have a little bit of an older crowd. You know, sometimes you turn 21, maybe can't handle yourself. So he said there's plenty of other places that 21-year-olds can go. This isn't a new sweeping restriction, right? This is just one establishment, and it is a smaller establishment. Goodnight John Boy, it is a smaller club. It's, you know, you walk in and it's 2 floors, but primarily you go upstairs. And, you know, someone we talked to said, hey, maybe this is not a bad idea. If it is a smaller place, you know, you want to be, I guess, a little bit more exclusive. Maybe that's not the right word, but just, you know, to really get a more mature crowd, even if that's just slightly more mature.
It's
we
that
also
part.
talked to someone who is
It's that
Yep.
part, Casey, I think that is making people scratch their heads. Like, is 23 versus 21
Right.
really that much more mature? I mean, that gets you out of college age, but like, really? You still can't rent a car?
Right, and we've heard of places that are 25 and up, and okay, that's a little bit of a difference there. We did talk to a young woman who is 20. She's turning 21 in October, and she said, you know what, I'm indifferent. She said she likes to do more creative activities anyway. She's not one to go out to bars and clubs, but she did say, I feel for some of my friends who, if this becomes the norm, if this becomes a trend, then maybe we're getting into some sort of uncharted territory here. But the opinions are really flying in, and I'm curious to talk to the CEO of the hospitality group to find out, was there a tipping point? What happened that made them decide this, or is this just an experiment?
Yeah, and then even my producer Perry over here was saying, like, I wonder if it's just for the summer. Or like, you know, we were just talking about college age versus this gets you out of college age. Is this for the summer to make sure that it doesn't become like the college students' hotspot? Or is this permanent?
And we will, that's a great question. We will ask the CEO, Michael Schwartz, here shortly when we talk to him. But, you know, we haven't gotten anyone who said, that's outrageous, that's ridiculous. Opinions have either pretty much been indifferent, or maybe, well, that's kind of a shame, but there's other establishments, or, you know, I think it's a good idea. So we're getting to know kind of what people think here. The thing about the West Loop, as you know, is there are so many other bars, nightclubs, restaurants. So I think in this case, can't get in here, people will go across the street.
Yeah, but on that note, I am very interested in hearing from the CEO in terms of revenue. And so many establishments right now are struggling, quite honestly. I mean, I just saw online today a place that I had on my list to get to that's closing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they've only been in business for 3 years.
I know.
So, I mean, we see things pop up, close very quickly, and it is very hard for these small business owners, and this would technically still be in that realm of small business. I wonder how they think through revenue loss versus what maybe new income could be coming in.
Exactly, because on one hand, you're losing that 21 to 20, you know, late 22 crowd. But on the other hand, if this creates maybe as someone we talked to today said, hey, I think it'll be classier that way. So if you're creating a little bit of a classier crowd, then maybe it bumps up revenue in some cases. So we will have the latest from that CEO on at 4 and 5. Very curious to see what he has to say and what was behind this decision. And we will certainly ask if it's just temporary or if this is their new normal.
Yeah, Casey, I mean, honestly, I almost have tears in my eyes wanting to laugh at the whole thing because it really just makes you think back to your mentality in your 20s, you know, like 21, you're like, yeah, the world is mine. And I distinctly remember being 25 and going on a trip planning a trip with my girlfriends who were all like 23 and 24. And how, you know, we were going to like Fort Lauderdale, I think. And again, 23, 24, 25. And there was this whole conversation about like, oh, Fort Lauderdale is so old. We want to be in Miami. We're too old for we're too old for this, but we need to go to this. You know, that age range where you start to feel like there's a difference between college age versus now you are starting to become an adult, really, and you don't want to be with the college kids anymore.
It's so true. It's so true. And one thing that people online are speculating, which we will ask the CEO, is, well, maybe they're doing this to curb underage individuals from using fake IDs, trying to get in, because if you have a fake ID that's 21 and up, that's going to turn those people from wanting to even try to get in if it is 23 and up. So that's one idea that we'll again chat with the CEO, and perhaps that played a role too, is trying to eliminate anyone who isn't yet 21 but acting as though they are.
I don't know. This is tricky. It's really tricky. And again, maybe it's an incremental shift and they wanted to see how people were going to react. They are definitely getting the reactions, you know? So maybe it was the shock value of it all. Like maybe their goal is to go to 25 or 30 and they wanted to see how people responded to 23 first. But the 21 to 23 just seems so odd to me.
But you know what, Anita? Here we are talking about it. So maybe they're onto something.
Yep. They're going to for sure have some new people. I'm sure they've gained some new followers online. Maybe they lost a few online too, but you know, I'm sure they've gained some new followers online who just want more information on the story. You get sucked into the comments.
Yep, you do. No,
it's good reading, if nothing else.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get ready here to chat with the CEO, but we'll have his interview and a few opinions of passerbys here on the West Loop on at 4 and 5.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Anita.
All
Okay,
right.
bye-bye.
See you later on. At this point in time, I'm like, make it 40 and up. It's just the older you get, the more you want to cut off. It's just, the 21 to 23 just seems a little odd, but I'm really looking forward to hearing more from the CEO in terms of their logic here, why they only went up 2 years, the difference they think it will make, and as Casey was saying, what was the catalyst? What was going on to make them feel like this is the moment and this is the shift that they needed in the end? And then as Perry was asking, okay, well, is this the permanent shift or is it a temporary shift, given the fact that it is the summer, school's out? We'll see. We'll get answers to most of those questions coming up later in our evening shows. But let's take a 2-minute break, everyone, and I'll set you up for where we're going in the 2 o'clock hour. All right, welcome back, everyone, to another hour of Chicago Live. We have several discussions that we're going to get into in this hour. Around 2:45, we're going to talk about beta blockers. Pretty trendy right now, but the question is why? And should they be? We're going to talk with a doctor from Rush Medical Group so that we can kind of sift through what people have seen on reality shows and adopted for their own lives and whether that's actually what we should have done. We'll get into all of that with a medical professional coming up at 2:45. We're also going to talk about summer prices for just about everything that are pretty high right now. Groceries, gas. And gas has taken a bit of a dip this week, but it's still high. Travel, energy cost, all of those things that are really hitting people in the pockets. Even if if you say, listen, I'm paying so much for groceries right now and energy costs. I'm not sure what we're going to do in terms of travel. Well, the cost of travel is also up. So there's plenty to get into in terms of topics surrounding the cost of things and what that's causing people to do, whether it means that people are staying home more or whether they're putting more on credit cards. lots of topics under this one umbrella here that we'll be talking about in the hour. Around 2:25, we're going to get one of our evening producers, Sloan Salerno, who's going to be joining us, our 5 p.m. producer, so that we can hear what they are working on for the evening shows, aside from, if you were just with us about 15 minutes ago or so, the conversation with Casey Cronus for the Goodnight John Boy story. Really looking forward to that when she finally has everything, all of the different elements to that put together. She's on her way to go interview the CEO of this establishment that's changed their age requirements from 21 to 23. So that's one of the stories we know they're working on, but we'll talk to Sloan about some of the other things coming up. The Urban League of Chicago, always doing wonderful things, always bringing more opportunities to people in the area, and they have a huge citywide job fair that's coming up, and so we'll hear from them about the why behind it and what's going to be available for people to change their lives, in a lot of ways. Again, we were just talking about the prices of things being so high right now. A lot of people out of work or looking for new work to try to cover the cost of all of those things. And so we'll hear from them at about 2:15 about the opportunities that they are providing for people. But we're starting off with a champion, a winner in the house, our one and only James Beard winner for this year, Jake Potashnik, the chef and owner of Feld. Thank you so much for being here with us, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Take me back to the moment you hear your name. Were you really surprised?
Truly shocked. You can also probably hear I had a bit of a night celebrating. I've lost my voice a little bit. But yeah, I mean, my fellow nominees are incredible chefs with incredible restaurants. So it was truly a shock and a huge honor.
Tell me what you think made your name, your restaurants, rise to the top.
I think at Feld we're doing something pretty unique. We take farm to table to sort of the extreme mindset of what that means. We call it relationship to table, but it's driven by extreme seasonality, and it's a very small and intimate experience. It's 20 seats. I have 9 staff, so it's almost 1 staff for every 2 guests, and we really involve you in the experience because guests sit around the side of the room and get to watch everything, like dinner in the round, like theater in the round. And so I think probably what connected with the James Beard voters and with the people was not just the food, but the entire experience we're providing that's so interesting.
Oh, yeah. I love the thought process of providing an experience, not just dinner, but an experience.
Yeah, I think because we do a tasting menu and it's like 20 to 25 bites of food or different things. And at the end of the night, when I'm like, how'd you enjoy the evening? When guests start to go, oh, my favorite dish was this or this, I actually stop them. And I'm like, no, but how'd you enjoy the experience? Like, that's so important to me, almost as much as the food itself.
Mm-hmm. How long have you been around?
We're going to hit 2 years next week.
And how has your experience been as a business owner here in the city of Chicago the last 2 years?
I mean, I'm born and raised Chicago, and I left the city for about 11 years to go apprentice and go to school and work all over the place. And I moved back to open the restaurant in Chicago because I love it here. I missed the city. I think it's a city that's incredibly welcoming for all types of cuisine and food and dining, from low range to high range of cost. And I've truly had a blast. I mean, the community has come to support us. We're based in the Ukrainian Village, and the amount of guests we have are like, I live a block down, and just kept walking by and wanted to check it out. I can't imagine Feld in any other city. I think it is a truly uniquely Chicago type of restaurant.
Wow. And when you say that, they say, well, I live close by, I wanted to check it out, I've got to ask you, are reservations hard to get?
Reservations are not easy. Yeah, and after last night, they're a touch harder. But they're currently open through August, and I think we're probably going to open September a little earlier than we would have. We normally do about 2 months out, 3 months out. But it's certainly possible to get in. And what is really amazing is we have guests who who have walked by it and live in Westtown or wherever, and they're like, I wanted to come for my birthday because I know you're in the area. We wanted to celebrate our anniversary. We wanted that one big night of the year that they want to celebrate. They choose to celebrate that with us, and that's a huge honor for me as a business owner and a chef.
And you mentioned things could kind of tick up after the big win last night. How does winning a James Beard Award change things for a restaurant, for a chef, as you've seen it before and anticipate now?
I think less about change and more about affirmation. We're not going to change anything, and the restaurant's not going to change because we won this award. What it is an affirmation of what we're doing and approval to keep going and to keep pushing creatively and thoughtfully for the experience that we're providing. And I think any business, restaurant or not, affirmation that what you're doing is working is important, and yeah, it keeps me and the team going, and it's amazing for the team. I mean, something like this, it's really cool that it's my name on it, but restaurants are such a team project, and I have such a small team that it's really, really cool to get to celebrate this with all of them.
Yeah, and the celebration last night, you said it was pretty hearty.
I mean, I would say my team probably went a little longer than I did. I'm on the older side of the group, but yeah, I mean, what's fun is like being the Chicago winner at and the ceremony being here in Chicago is like, rather than go to one of the after parties, we just went to some of the bars we really like, and then that was very fun.
Are you all open today?
No, and not because the awards were normally closed on Tuesday.
Okay, all right. You're like, did you need a recovery day? It was already built in. It was already built in.
Exactly. We got very lucky.
Let me ask you. I mean, it's not that Chicago ever like cleans house at the James Beard Awards, but we have had several in one award ceremony before. What do you think happened that we only have one? And we celebrate you, but like that we only have one.
I think Chicago, the food scene in general, like nationwide, has never been better. The access to great produce and to chefs who have gotten to train and apprentice with amazing people countrywide, it's expanded. And I think 20 years ago, you really saw a lot of the great culinary talent was in New York or Chicago or LA or San Francisco. That's where the resources were to train and be great. And now you look at St. Louis and Charlotte and Austin, and these are cities with chefs who went and trained for the best chefs and came back and opened where their home was or in a city they just loved. And so for a national award ceremony like James Beard, I don't think it's a commentary on Chicago. I think Chicago has amazing restaurants and amazing chefs. I think it's a commentary on how amazing the expansion of our industry and the skill set in our industry is right now.
That was a very well said. Very well said. And what is the food scene like here now from your perspective? I mean, because I feel like it's so mixed in terms of I see some places that I would have thought would have made it and they closed. I just saw one today that posted online, oh, we've closed our doors. I'm like, what? But then on the other hand, I'm also seeing a lot of new places that are popping up. So in your perspective, what is the scene like right now?
I think Chicago has always been very accepting of the entire spectrum of dining. So that is the new spots that open up that are $15 for a meal, or somewhere that's opening up doing a tasting menu that's $200, they all stand a fair shot here in the city because there's a dining public for everything. I think the movement I'm seeing right now is towards smaller restaurants, with the exception sort of like these big spots that are opening on the lake and the river and that kind of stuff. Like everything you see in neighborhoods that used to maybe be 60, 80, 100 seats, they're now like 40-seat restaurants because those are a little easier to staff. They're a little easier to fill up. And the beautiful thing about this city is that you can still rent a space and financially succeed by being a smaller restaurant. We don't have the New York rent prices or San Francisco rent prices yet that require you to have a larger restaurant or do lunch 7 days a week. It's you can and so the movement now, what I see, is towards sort of smaller, more intimate dining at the entire range of price spectrum.
Okay, how do you take things up a notch after where I mean, you're at kind of the culinary zenith, but like, how do you take it up a notch? What are your goals from here?
You know, we've had this incredible year. Before James Beard, we had a couple Jean Panchet awards. We got our first Michelin star this year. We were a Bon Appetit Best New Restaurant this year. So it's been like thing after thing after thing. And every time we've gotten an amazing recognition like this, my goal is just to go into work tomorrow and make the restaurant better than the day before. I'm not focused on expansion. I'm not focused on changing and grow. I want my goal is to make Feld the best restaurant it can be. I want it to be a citywide dining destination. I want it to be a global wide dining destination. And to do that, it requires my full attention and my full love. And I love being there. I love working every day. And so that's what's next. What's next is just continuing the push that we've already been on.
Well, I hear I've got to check your TikTok out, that you're pretty active there as well.
A little bit. I try to find time between the work, yeah.
And I've got to get over to Feld. Congratulations again on the new accomplishment, and best wishes on those that will come from here.
Thank you so much.
All right, you take care. Really great to see again, homegrown talent that's now being celebrated worldwide. And he's right that the capitals, if you will, the New York, the Chicago, the LA, they're sharing the wealth now. You know, you do see some of the cities that maybe you never saw before getting James Beard winners start to have them now. So that's pretty awesome, too. Although we'd love to just clean house for Chicago and the James Beard Award. We're glad to be able to celebrate Jake Potashnik and Feld. All right, let's take a 2-minute break. We'll be back with our discussion about the Urban League Job Fair that's coming up. Welcome back, everyone. It's about 2:16 right now. We always love catching up with the Urban League here in Chicago and the wonderful things that they are doing to help people, give them more opportunities for different things in their lives. And today we're specifically talking about their job fair that is coming up. We have Henry Flores, the Director of Workforce Development at the Chicago Urban League, who's joining us. And thank you so much for being here with us and for what you all do.
Sure, thank you for having us.
You know, I think the Urban League has a long history of providing opportunities for people in our area and well beyond. Is this citywide job fair? I know it's not new, but like, what did you all do this year to meet needs that maybe weren't there in years prior?
Well, this is our 13th annual citywide job fair, and it's one of the largest and most inclusive workforce events in the region. We have thousands of job seekers that attend annually, and we try to enhance the employers that are at the actual fair, which will bring out more job seekers. So this year we have over 85 employers that will show up, and this event just shows what possible is from coming from community organizations, corporate partners, and local talent when they come together.
Mm-hmm. When you say it's one of the most inclusive workforce events, what is the span of opportunities that will be provided there?
Well, the expectations job seekers can expect is to meet employers that are actively hiring from wide range roles from entry level to, say, experienced positions in healthcare, security, manufacturing, tech, finance, hospitality. We try to cover as many industries that we can, and looking for employers that has multiple positions available.
Talk about how this fits into the overall mission of the Urban League.
Well, the mission of the Urban League, first and foremost, one of the things that is designed to break down barriers to employment by connecting thousands of job seekers with employers from across the region. It's part of the Chicago Urban League's broader mission, and it's to promote economic equity and provide meaningful workforce development opportunities, especially for Black communities and historically underserved groups and communities.
Let's say someone is new to it, and they just have not gone through this process before. Get them ready.
Mm-hmm. Well, my advice would be to come prepared, dress professionally, bring resumes. We do have on-site resume printing. We do have headshots as well, which you can use for LinkedIn. We have professionals that you can talk to a little bit more, because we understand that the job fair is kind of high-paced and more fast-paced, and they will not have the opportunities typically that they would have in the past, where you can talk directly with some of our staff in workforce development that will be able to give them advice, and we would also give them information about our job readiness programs that's coming up.
I love that you all are even doing a headshot photo studio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're doing the headshots totally free. We also provide childcare also. So we try to take in consideration the barriers that people that walk in through the doors, will have, and try to accommodate them as best as we can. I know that, transportation is typically one of them. That's why we like having it at UIC, because typically, with UIC, you can take the CTA, you can take the Red Line. It's kind of like a area where you have multiple resources for transportation. Now, the childcare is another barrier. We do offer, but it is first come, first serve. We do offer the childcare on site while you are attending the job fair.
Mm-hmm. And talk about the difference it makes for a lot of people to have those things baked in.
Well, the opportunities are just endless. And one of the things that we want people to be is open to the possibilities of different things that they weren't open to in the past. Whether you are looking for, construction jobs, you might want to be open to manufacturing jobs. I mean, things of that nature. There's so many different opportunities. There's so many opportunities for networking with individuals that you probably will not see or get to talk to on a day-to-day basis, or even, some of the other job fairs that might be out there. But we just want to be in a position where they have as many opportunities as possible that will, contribute to their success.
About how many people do you think you all are anticipating this year?
Well, that is hard. Registered right now, we have over 4,000 people that's registered. and we can't account for the people that don't register and just walk in. But last year, we did have it where a little bit over 3,000 people attended the job fair from that 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. time frame.
Awesome. And you already have 4,000 that are registered for this year. So is
Yes.
registration required or preferred?
Registration is preferred, it's not required. I say it's preferred because it helps speed the lines up, because there are so many employers, there are so many people, and we only have that 4-hour time frame. So if you actually register, you get a QR code that's sent to your email address. When you come in, we scan it, and then you can jump the line real quick, and then you're right in there with the employers and other networking opportunities.
Okay, and again, this is happening tomorrow. So give us the quick, who, what, where, when, why for people if they're just tuning in.
Yeah, if you're looking for opportunities to expand your career, please meet us tomorrow, June 17th at the UIC Forum, located 725 West Roosevelt Road. We'll be there from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Please bring a lot of copies of your resumes and just be ready to network.
Thank you so much for what you all do, what you all provide on a regular basis year round, and for coming on the show today to talk about this, specifically the job fair. Really looking forward to seeing how many. Do you all have a way of do you all try to track, how people do in terms of coming to the job fair and then what happens to them after that?
Yes, we absolutely do. That's the importance of being able to have a relationship with the employers, because we have so many people, as I just mentioned, that come in through the job fair. So it's good to always have a connection with those employers and not have it a 1-year type of situation where you're only communicating with them for this job fair. So the employers that are in the job fair, we communicate with them throughout the year, and we track people for 30, 60, 90 days. And sometimes we go up to 6 months, depending on the industry and the actual workload of that company being able to provide us with those stats. But we definitely keep track of that.
Love it. Love it. Thank you all for, again, what you all do. And I look forward to the life-changing opportunities that you all will continue to provide.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, it's 2:23, 2 minutes, and we're bringing in Sloan Salerno so we can find out what's coming up for our later shows. .25, and our 5 p.m. producer is standing by to get us up to date on what is to come. Hey, Sloan.
Hello, I am at my desk today, as you can see. So we have Leslie is covering. So yesterday, a mural that honors 3 of Chicago's fallen police officers was vandalized. The mural honored officers Luis Huesca, Andres Vasquez Lasso, and Enrique Martinez. No arrests have been announced, but there is a $1,000 reward for any information that does lead to an arrest of those responsible. So Leslie is actually going to be speaking with the mother of Luis Huesca, and she's also going to talk to the parent of another one of those officers. We're still waiting to find out which one that's going to be. And then there's also a community paint day this weekend on Saturday that's, to help get the mural fixed up. And so she's trying to focus on, the positive, getting the community together to help fix what has happened, and then also how do the parents feel when something like this happens.
Yeah, I mean, I love that the community is coming together for this, but I can only imagine the pain for one of the parents. And I specifically call out the parents because I remember each one of those officers' deaths, the funerals, and just how gripping it was, the fact of how young they were, and the fact that they had neither of them, none of them had spent much time on the force and in life in general. And so we're not talking about like people who were married with children left behind. There were parents at each one of those funerals who, had just celebrated their children taking this big leap in life to serve their city, and then had to bury them. And so it was beautiful when that mural was painted. What a beautiful tribute it was to see that mural painted, and heartbreaking to now have someone vandalize it in this way.
Of course. And then we have Brett is in Indiana today, so he was in Hobart. So the Chamber of Commerce there had a meeting, and Governor Braun was there, and he talked about the Bears. Nothing crazy. He said that they're at the 20-yard line, and he admitted it's not a done deal until the Bears sign, something we kind of already knew. But outside of that meeting, there were people protesting data centers in Indiana. And so they have, environmental and health concerns. And then on top of that, when Brett talked to them, they also don't want billionaires or data centers to get any tax breaks, and that includes the Bears. And so it's, kind of this flip of, Indiana's so excited to have the Bears doing all these things, but how do the residents really feel about it? Not everyone is super excited.
Yeah. That really is becoming the tough thing about where the Bears will be in the future. One, it's intriguing, I'll put it that way, that Governor Braun said in that setting that it's not a done deal yet, because we just listened to Senator Banks on Capitol Hill last week literally go in on Illinois like it was a done deal. And I'm thinking, man, oh man, if he has to walk that back, that is a lot to walk back if they don't get the Bears. But when you start to talk to everyday people, you're not hearing much difference in how everyday people feel here about the possibility of tax breaks versus there.
And they still haven't picked a site in it. We know that there's the Wolf Lake site that isn't the only one that we know about in Hammond, but there's still been no concrete answer on if that's where they're going to do it. And so that's where Brett's going to go live from tonight, the only spot that we even know of in Indiana. And so, we'll see what comes out of that never-ending saga.
Very interesting. Yes, it takes us back to the old movie, Never-Ending Story.
And then we have Joni. So the Millennium Park Summer Music Series just started yesterday, and Giancarlo Guerrero, he's the artistic director of the Grant Park Orchestra. So he is in town. He's not here all the time, but he's here for 9 more shows. And he's also the conductor who was on the field with Bad Bunny during the Super Bowl performance. And so she's going to talk to him about that. And then she's also going to talk to him about, he is incorporating America's 250th anniversary into these shows. And so it's sort of, his take on that. He's, from Nicaragua, but he has a U.S. passport, he's a U.S. citizen. So he's like, what constitutes someone as an American composer? What is American music? And so that's going to be interesting to hear his take on that. And then he's also throwing the first pitch at the Cubs game on Saturday. And so she'll talk to him about that. So that's
awesome.
Fun.
He's had quite the year.
Yes, he has. And then we have a couple of Cross America stories for you.
They're back.
So, yes. So in Florida, a couple there had a baby. They used IVF to have a baby, and the clinic messed up. They put someone else's embryo.
Oh, I think I remember
inside the
that.
mother. And so, yeah, everyone's been talking about this. It was obvious that the baby was not theirs. Both the parents are white, and this baby was South Asian. And so they sued the clinic, and then they started looking for the baby's genetic parents. They said out of moral obligation, that we had bonded with this child, but we don't want to, like, imagine, having a child out there and you don't know. And so they did find the daughter's parents. And so the update today is that they've reached an agreement with them, and the couple that had the baby is going to have custody of the daughter. And so, again, not a lot of details on the agreement, just that part have been released. And the couple did say, it's ending one chapter of the heartbreaking journey because they, get to keep the child. But now they still have questions about, what happened to their embryos, and they're likely not going to get answers on that from the clinic. And so they're just, it's, the same. They're happy, but again, still heartbreaking.
Oh my goodness. And I mean, the IVF journey overall, such an emotional journey. And when you add in twists and turns like this and legal battles like this, my goodness. I wonder, I mean, that's a horrible PR. That's a PR nightmare for a clinic too.
I'm pretty sure they closed, but I'm not. I don't
Okay.
want you to quote me on that. I'm like 99% sure they closed, but I would have to double check on that. But yeah, it's crazy. And then in California, this is kind of a fun story. It's just, there's no really news aspect to this story. It's just fun. This cat named Juno, she's been called Klepto Cat because she's going viral everywhere for stealing toys, hats, gardening gloves. And so since 2019, she has stolen 2,562 things from the neighborhood. This year alone, she's gotten 218. And so the owner has cameras up that record her, and people all over the country love her. And
she loved the interview with Great American. Yeah. Oh, Rachel's great.
Well, we'll hear more about Juno and see. So we get to see Juno in action later.
You will see Juno in action. Yes, I'll make sure of it.
Looking forward to that as well. Thank you, Sloan.
Bye. Thank you.
All right. So plenty to come in the evening shows, everyone. Give us 2 minutes, and we're going to get to our next discussion here on Chicago Live about sizzling summer prices. Welcome back. 2:35 right now, and affordability has really become one of the biggest topics of the year. It is a big part of the midterm elections that are coming up, And probably even more importantly, it's just what people are feeling every day. When you think about groceries and what you paid last year and what you paid this year for the very same items, I mean, sometimes it takes you aback when you're getting the very same items, and then the attendant tells you how much you have to pay, and you're like, huh? Because the prices have gone up so much, or the price of gas over the last several months especially, and how that translates into travel and energy costs. So much change. And Lorelei Salas is former supervision director of the CFPB, former commissions for the NYC Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, joining us now to talk about these summer prices that people are feeling in more than one ways. Thank you for your time.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing very well, but I wonder about wellness when it comes to so many American citizens that are just trying to plan out summer activities that you have for many years, but it looks very different from an affordability perspective.
Absolutely. This is going to be a very expensive summer for American families. Whether they're staying home to host a barbecue or they're planning to travel with their families, they're going to see much higher prices on barbecues, staples, and on airfare and gas. And unfortunately, the high prices are here to stay for a few months.
Gas prices, it seemed like, we're on Tuesday, but on the news of a possible deal being struck to end the war in Iran. I mean, we should get a signing ceremony. President Trump says it's already been signed, but a ceremony on Friday. But on that news, gas prices took a bit of a dip as we started this week, but they're nowhere near what they were in years past.
Right. We've seen that the average price of a gallon of gas has gone down 3 cents, which is not enough, especially when we think about the price today, on average $4.04. It's still 30% higher than before the war in Iran began. So that's just going to put a dent on a lot of driving. If families wanted to rent a car and drive their own cars, it's going to add up.
And obviously, the longer we have seen that, I remember speaking with experts in the very beginning of the conflict in Iran, and they're thinking, okay, if things turned around pretty quickly, that wouldn't necessarily translate into issues for like airfare, but because it has been more prolonged than a lot of people expected in the beginning, it has had a cost effect on airfare as well.
Absolutely. So the prices of airline tickets have gone up about 26 to 30% in domestic flights. That's about $340 per ticket. The price to check your bags has increased for at least $10 more per bag. And those prices are not likely to go down for a while. The truth is that people are being very cautious right now. The shipping companies waiting to go through the Strait of Hormuz are waiting to see if this deal sticks. And two, they're waiting to make sure that it's safe. It's estimated that Iran has deployed about 5,000 mines that are not have to be found, and for it to be safe for the ships to move through the strait.
And obviously there's been a lot of focus on the impact from the war in Iran, but inflation overall is up.
Inflation is high, and let's not forget that the tariffs that were in place for most of 2025 have impacted a lot of the prices on fertilizers, right? So we have the compounding effect of the tariff prices on fertilizers that are needed for produce. And on top of that, a third of the fertilizers that move through the economy are supposed to move through the Strait of Hormuz. And that has meant that the prices of tomatoes, of corn, and almost any product that needs to grow is going to be high.
When I look at some of the polling numbers, that 6 in 10 Americans believe the war in Iran has increased the risk of a recession. 4 in 10 say gas prices are causing them to drive less. 3 in 10 say they have changed travel or vacation plans because of rising costs. And when I hear a number like 3 in 10, I'm thinking, does that mean that there are a lot of other people who may not necessarily be able to afford that travel, but there's more people putting it on credit cards?
You're absolutely right. What we are seeing is that families are putting basic items like groceries and gas and medication on their credit cards, or they are resorting to alternative products like buy now, pay later products to be able to afford the basic necessities. And that is very concerning because that is going to mean that the household that will continue to rise will put many families in a very difficult situation to try to get rid of that debt eventually.
So now that we have a possible deal with Iran, how do you think this is going to translate into the midterms? I mean, has this been, and I hate to use the word solved, but has, at the very least, has a deal been struck in time for it not to be an issue come midterms?
And the truth is that we are still in a wait and see situation, right? We need to make sure that this deal does stick. They're supposed to, a lot of the terms that have been negotiated are either secret right now or still to be negotiated over the next 60 days. So that's still, 8 weeks during which a lot of things can happen. So I don't think people are counting on this deal being set yet. Until it really is.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, yesterday, Vice President Vance was saying, trust but verify. We've heard wait and see many times, but all of those things point to the fact that, like, this isn't over today, tomorrow, still.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we hope it is, but we need to see what the negotiations lead to within the next 60 days.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your expertise. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care. It's 2:43, everyone. Give us 2 minutes before we talk about beta blockers. .45, everyone, and is typically the case. We will see something that reality stars or celebrities do or use on a show, and it it blows up. It blows up. But there's always the question of, should it? That now pertains to beta blockers. A lot of people saw them become a big part of the discussion on a show called Summer House, a very popular show called Summer House, and now they are just exploding in popularity. But are they actually okay for people at large? We have Dr. Joshua Elogi from Rush Medical Group, who is joining us now to keep us in the know. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me here.
Mm-hmm. And did I pronounce your last name right?
No, but no one does. It's Elo. The G is silent.
Elog?
Yeah, Josh Elo. Yep.
Elo,
nice
gotcha.
to meet you.
Okay, all right. So I'll have it in my mind from now on. I'm sure we'll speak again. So what is your take on beta blockers?
So beta blockers have been around primarily in cardiology for a really long time. But we found, I'm a psychiatrist, that they actually have some usefulness in psychiatry too, specifically in anxiety disorders, and more so in like public speaking, like performance anxiety. And so we use them as well. Some specific ones, propranolol is one we often use. But there's a number of uses in cardiology and in psychiatry for beta blockers.
Mm-hmm. So this young man on Summer House said that he took a beta blocker before the reunion, and anyone who knows reality TV, when the reunion comes around, it's usually a ruckus. So he says he took the beta blocker before that reunion because emotions run so high. That tracks for you then?
So beta receptors, where beta blocker comes from, there's these beta receptors all over the body. They're on the heart, they're in the lungs, they're in the large muscle groups. There's also beta receptors in the brain. And so when you're in a high stress situation, the body wants to do something about it. And so it'll send these kind of stress hormones that will go to all those places to be like, hey, we gotta get out of here. We gotta do something. Maybe there's a threat. And so beta blockers can be useful to bring down some of that adrenaline surge. It's interesting because I haven't seen the show, but yeah, it sounds like a pretty stressful environment where you're expected perhaps to perform, or there might be some kind of tense situations. And so feeling on edge, lots of tremulousness, heart racing, things like that, could be a useful place potentially for beta blockers to be used.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people, though, were taken aback by the fact that, you know, again, we wouldn't expect you to be the expert on reality TV, but you know, again, for reunions, like, I mean, usually the people are on 10. They come in ready. They have their lines prepared. I mean, they know it's going to be something special that will, you know, have people talking and tweeting and all of those things for a while after the reunion airs, and people commented in the tweeting and the posts that came after this. People were really taken that he seemed unmoved, detached, disconnected.
So this is really interesting, right? Where I think we are often thinking about beta receptors and the blocking effects of that in the cardiology space, where we would want the heart rate maybe to be low if you have a certain kind of cardiac condition. This question about the emotional effect, I think, is a really fascinating one. If we think about it as primarily working, you know, neck down, so to speak, like, oh, would that really hit much of the emotional piece? There have been two research papers that really looked at, okay, well, we know that there's beta receptors in the brain. Do these medicines have like an emotional effect too, or is it just kind of like the body anxiety, the body arousal? The first study was just a couple of years ago, and it took folks without propranolol, this is the beta blocker that we often use in psychiatry, versus people who did take the medicine, and then they put them in a really stressful situation where they had 2 minutes before they had to give a 10-minute impromptu speech in front of a panel of judges, And then after that, they had to do some arithmetic in front of the judges and try to answer some of these math questions. A pretty intense situation. Right? They found that compared to the folks who didn't get the active drug, the people who got propranolol, yes, a lot of that body anxiety was less prominent, but they also seemed to have less negative emotion and high arousal, so kind of like another fancy scientific way of saying anxiety, suggesting, oh, maybe there is something more sort of central in the brain that these medicines are doing. And then this other study took a step further and said, okay, well, let's look at the brain during something like this. Let's use functional MRI, blood flow to different parts of the brain, like, oh, these are more active, less active, and certain situations. They showed, again, people with medicine versus people without medicine, these different kind of like stressful pictures. And the people who got the medicine, there was less activity in this specific part of the brain. It's called the amygdala. It's this area deep down in our brain, and it tends to be a threat detector, right? And so when something comes in, the amygdala kind of activates and sends signals all over the body, like, hey, we gotta get out of here. There's a bear, or something like scary, stressful. The study looked at the blood flow in the area and saw that actually the activity, or maybe reactivity of the amygdala, this threat detector, was less in the folks who got the propranolol versus folks who didn't, suggesting that this medicine in particular, yes, has some effects neck down, but also seems to work centrally to decrease the stress, the anxiety that can come with these stressful situations.
Dr. Elo, we're having a bit of an issue with your connection here, but I hope that we bring you back real soon. I was catching pieces of what you were saying, and now I'm just wondering, whether this will be something that, whether it's a good thing that maybe just more people know about this as an option, but what concerns might arise too with so many people maybe wanting to hop on a trend. So hopefully we can bring you back, chat a little bit more, but thank you so much for your time today. Okay.
My pleasure. Sorry for the connection, but it was nice talking with you.
Wonderful speaking with you again. And I'll get your name right the next time. Thank you. Everyone, it's 2:53, and we're going to get into our discussions for the 3 o'clock hour coming up in just a few moments. We anticipated being able to talk to Dr. Elo a little bit longer. I do have so many more questions, but I'm sure you were hearing there, just as we were, that there were just some connection issues, so you really were only getting pieces of what he was saying. Before we get to the 3 o'clock hour, let's go over a few of the stories that are trending on our website. We do have the big story from Saquon earlier this morning. She was on a CPD officer. They're releasing some new details after a CPD officer shot a suspect accused of gunning down a man on the north side. We have some of the people who were in the area. So this was a 63-year-old man that was fatally shot during an argument Monday in Uptown, according to CPD, and then officers later located the suspected gunman from that argument, the deadly argument, who then police say pointed a gun at them. And this was during a foot chase. Obviously, you point a gun at the police, and so they opened fire. The suspect remains in critical condition at this point in time. That's according to COPA, and of course, CPD is investigating all of this. So we'll see what comes from it, but it just seems like there was a person, again, who was involved in an argument, shot a person, and then decided to essentially, if this proves correct, have suicide by cop. But the person is in critical condition right now. We will update you as we get new information. I believe that the officers as well were taken to the hospital, but that was just for evaluation. I believe that they are okay. Yeah, the department said the officers involved all will be assigned to routine administrative duties for a minimum of 30 days here, but their investigative team is now looking into all of this, the initial shooting that is, and then also the officer involved shooting that took place. So that's one of the big stories from the morning. We also have a story that's gaining a lot of traction online. This is from Major League Baseball, issuing some warnings to Giants players who wrote Bible verses on pride caps. So you can already see why this would be quite the trender right now in terms of people clicking on it to see what went down here. But Major League Baseball reportedly issuing this warning to several of the San Francisco Giants pitchers who wrote Bible verses on their specialized hats. Of course, we are in Pride Month. During the team's Pride Night celebration, the starting pitcher, along with the relievers, all wrote verses on their caps during Friday night's game. This was against the Chicago Cubs, so that's kind of what brings it back here. When asked about the inscriptions after the game, the starting pitcher said the motivation for the writing, it's about God's covenant. So that is another story that's trending on our website. I'll give you maybe one or two more here before we take a break. Casey Cronus's story from yesterday. You heard her giving a preview during our show, this disturbing story that she was on yesterday about abuse, allegations at a kindercare facility involving twin 4-year-olds. And the fact that the parents were contacted after the little boy alerted one of the workers there that something had happened with one of the other workers, and they looked at the surveillance in the particular location, the business, and saw it for themselves, contacted police, but then when this grows into a bigger investigation, the police say, well, 5 minutes before that, on the same video that the workers there, the bosses there had access to see this one instance of abuse, the police told the parents that 5 minutes before that, there was also an instance of abuse involving their daughter. So a lot there, and you can understand why this would be trending on our website. These Northbrook parents now suing KinderCare, Glenview. It's a Glenview daycare over their alleged harm to their twins. This is a civil lawsuit now that's been filed for KinderCare, which is the larger organization, but it was the Crim School specifically. So KinderCare is the larger organization. They have plenty of daycares throughout the country, but the Crim School specifically, and their former daycare employee over allegations involving their 4-year-old twins. The parents say, again, that they had learned about this incident involving their son in February, but were never told that right before that, until 2 months later, when the police contact them, that their daughter was also allegedly harmed here. So the former daycare employee, just so you know, since we were talking about a civil suit, former daycare employee is facing 5 misdemeanor battery charges, while DCFS is investigating, what charges could come. So this isn't over by many stances, whether it's the civil lawsuit or even from the criminal aspect of this as well. I'll give you one more story, and then we're going to break for the 3 o'clock hour, and that's just really about the weather. So in the 3 o'clock hour, and it's already trending, it's our number 2 trending topic here on our website. We have been through several rounds of storms that people are still cleaning up from, still wrapping their heads around, still devastated by over the last less than a week now. Wednesday and Thursday of last week really proved to be destructive for so many people, whether homes were lost. We've now heard of lives lost from using a generator and having a CO2 issue, but then we are preparing for what could be another really rough day tomorrow. And so people are already clicking on that, looking at tornado risk. And I think from the last count, we'll get it from our meteorologist, but the count continues to go up from the last episode, especially on Thursday, when we saw so many tornadoes throughout our area, gearing up for the possibility of another rough day tomorrow. So all of that's coming in the 3 o'clock hour. Let's take a 2-minute break, and then I'll let you know what else is coming in the hour to come. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Sasha, I can't hear myself. Let's see, is that on? Yep. Let's see. All right, are we up? Yeah, okay, battery died. All right, problem solved here. Let's talk about what's coming up in this hour here. I was telling you moments ago, if you were with us at the end of the 2 o'clock hour, that we were getting ready to talk about the weather changing. That is one of our conversations coming up around 3:30 with JD Rudd. A big conversation that we are going to have as we are anticipating what could be an ugly day tomorrow. And I'm hearing it from all of our meteorologists that are chiming in our emails that we need to be ready for tomorrow. So we'll get you ready for tomorrow around 3:30. Also going to talk about a demolition effort that's happening in Gary. I mean, every time we talk to folks in Gary, they are just telling us about new things that are coming, a revitalization that's happening. It's beautiful to see. Obviously, it has its pros and its cons along the way, but we're going to talk with the president and CEO of Northwest Indiana Regional Development Authority about the new development on the way and what that is going to take away for the city of Gary coming up. That will be 3:45 when we have that discussion. It'll be our final discussion for the day here on the show. Goodness, I'm so looking forward to our conversation with the Marist High School senior and an Eagle Scout who came up with quite the project that is just going to warm your heart so much. We have heard about, donation drives of all sorts, right? But have you heard of a luggage drive before? I had never heard of it. So then you put a question mark on it. Like, what is this? What is it for? It's for foster children. And then it really makes you think about the situation that they are in and how pivotal this idea that he had could be in helping people in such a moment of need. Many foster children, if you are being rushed out of a situation and going into another one and maybe having to change homes multiple times, they don't necessarily get a lot of time to put their stuff together, so usually it's going in a trash bag. You're already, as a child, in a very adult situation, having to cope with things on the move. So really, he says this is about giving dignity to these young people. And so we'll talk to him about his effort there. Really looking forward to meeting him and hearing more about his effort and how we can all help. But we're starting this hour with what has been a frequent topic of conversation, and that's GLP-1s. There was the initial popularity of GLP-1s and just the weight loss benefits that were being touted, but as time goes by, we're hearing about many other things connected to them, highs and lows, good and bad, and in this situation, now hearing about Ozempic possibly being a secret weapon against ADHD. Dr. Leonard Adler is the director of the Adult ADHD program at NYU Langone Health, and he's joining me now. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me on.
Were you surprised at the latest developments here when it comes to GLP-1s? As I mentioned, it does seem like over time we're just hearing more and more analysis about the many other ways outside of weight loss that these could be viewed.
So we don't have any large databases or studies that have shown clear effects of GLP-1s on ADHD symptoms in patients with adult ADHD. But there are case reports that have been coming in, and there's a large Reddit thread that's been ongoing for patients that have ADHD that are taking GLP-1s that are reporting improvement in their symptoms. In some ways, this isn't surprising because we know GLP-1s do affect the reward center and impulsivity in the brain, two areas that we know are involved in ADHD.
Interesting, very interesting. And so, do you have concerns now that we're starting to even see a possible association here that this will make people? I mean, listen, when we first found out about the benefits of Adderall. You know, I mean, people started using them for many other different reasons. Are you concerned at all now that people are hearing about this possible association, that people will try Ozempic or any other GLP-1 for this purpose without more research, without more knowledge?
Well, clearly we don't have any studies that show benefits at this point. We're just looking at patient reports at this point. And I follow several hundred adults with ADHD, and a number of them have gone on GLP-1s. Probably between 5 and 10% of the patients I treat have gone on GLP-1s. And about half of the ones that have gone on GLP-1s have reported improvement in ADHD symptoms. But this doesn't mean that we have any real studies that have shown improvement. So it's an area that really needs to be further researched, and we need to get more data. We don't know why the improvement may be occurring. If we can truly document the improvement is with these systematic trials that we hopefully will occur. It could be just from the weight loss. It could be that the weight loss in and of itself is making the medicines that we use for ADHD more available. Or it could be that with the weight loss that occurs, patients are becoming, having better lifestyle, are having lifestyle effects and are making better choices, and therefore their ADHD symptoms may be improving. But the point that you raise is a good one, that patients shouldn't go off and start using these medicines to treat ADHD until we, on their own at all. And certainly we need more data here. This should be done under doctor supervision. Both, they should have their ADHD appropriately treated with ADHD medicines, and if they're using GLP-1s, it should be under appropriate medical supervision.
Let's break things down to kind of the bare bones here. If someone doesn't really understand ADHD, what should they know?
So if an individual is worried they have ADHD, they should go see their doctor because we have good rating scale screening tests to identify individuals who are at risk for ADHD, and the diagnosis is a clinical one. And we know that individuals that have adult ADHD, and it affects about 4% of the U.S. adult population, meaning between 8 to 9% of U.S. adults. If you don't get the ADHD treated, there are significant consequences in terms of loss of income, higher risk for substance use, greater rates for divorce or separation, changing jobs more frequently, greater motor vehicle accidents. So there's a number of consequences if you have ADHD and don't get it diagnosed and treated appropriately.
Mm-hmm. And does ADHD look different from those who are diagnosed as an adult versus those who are diagnosed as children?
So ADHD does look different for adults as compared to kids. Adults just aren't grown-up children. The adults tend to feel the restlessness much more than manifest it. The symptoms of trouble paying attention are more prominent in adults. Adults are less likely to get it out of their chair because they know it's not appropriate. They'll guard against that. So the symptoms of restlessness are much more internal and felt rather than shown.
Mm-hmm. And what are the trusted methods of treating ADHD right now?
So we have a variety of good treatments available to treat ADHD once an individual receives an appropriate diagnosis. And what I want to highlight is getting the diagnosis right and getting the right treatments in the right people. So we have good psychotherapies that are available, including cognitive behavioral therapy, and there are two classes of medicines that are helpful. There are the non-stimulant medicines, and there are two of those that are approved for adults with ADHD. And then there are the stimulant medicines, which are the Ritalin, Adderall type medicines. Those are the controlled substances that are approved for ADHD. So we have a variety of medicines that are available.
Mm-hmm. And how do you see moving the ball forward for people who may be diagnosed in the future or who have already been diagnosed? Where do you see the studies, the research, the field going to better help people in the future?
So I think the research will focus on trying to personalize treatment, getting the right medication for the right person, and selecting the appropriate choice of medicines. And I think we have work to do there. And also looking at longer term treatment and how our medicines, we're looking at effects of medicines over time and maintaining people on them. So there are a variety of things that need to be studied and that we're looking into currently that are robust areas of investigation.
Dr. Adler, thank you so much for joining us here on Chicago Live. We really appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure to join.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
Very interesting there, and I think it's so important that we listen to the medical professionals and don't just look at the headline and then act. Listen to the medical professionals as they are doing the studies, as they are doing the research to kind of find out, one, their thoughts on what they're seeing, but then also where things are headed as well. When you're talking about lots of different types of medications, they can have different effects on different people, and there are many other things that go into the overall picture, as he was saying there. So we're really glad that Dr. Adler joined us today, and we'll have more discussions about, I'm sure, GLP-1s and their many different effects in the years to come. All right, 3:13, give us 2 minutes, we'll be back. Getting to Grayson Hare with Marist High School. Welcome back. It's 3:15 right now, and you've heard my excitement to speak to this next young man. Grayson Hare from Marist High School is an Eagle Scout. He is a senior at his high school, and he's a parishioner of Christ the King, and he is doing something that is so honorable. Let's go ahead and bring him into the chat here. Grayson, thank you so much for joining us. Look at all those patches. Wow.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to share this with you.
So tell me about your luggage drive. Where'd you get the idea?
Well, when I was researching my idea for my Eagle project, I came across an article about how foster children, when they move between homes, they're often just given a garbage bag or a box to put all their stuff in. And I thought, that just seems like you're telling them that they are trash. You are giving them a trash bag, and you are telling them that they are trash. And I just thought, what if I gave them something transportable that they could move their belongings in much easier? And so I pitched the idea to my parents, and funny enough, my mom had done one when I was like 5, and
Wow.
I didn't remember. So it was like a full circle moment for me.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing, and you are wise beyond your years to even think about this. So tell us how it's going to work and how people can help out.
Yeah, so my luggage drive, the collection ends June 21st. We're collecting at CK, the Christ the King Parish. I'm at all the masses, and you can also drop it off at the CK Rectory, which the address for that is 9235 South Hamilton Avenue. We will take any type of travel bag, but small roller bags are preferred because the median age for a foster child is 8 years old. So we don't want a massive bag for them.
Yeah. What's the reaction been like so far in people finding out about this?
Yeah, it's been great. When I was at Mass, I was at the back of Mass this weekend, and people kept coming up to me and telling me that, like you said, I was wise beyond my years to think about it, and that they didn't even know it was a problem. And I was so glad that I could enlighten them and that they were willing to help. So many said that they were going to bring some luggage this weekend, so I'm looking forward to it.
I'm certainly hoping that your bins are overflowing, that so many people, give in this very special way. What has all of this meant to you?
I mean, it's just like I said, it's crazy to me that people don't think about it. And sure, it's not a very common topic. I don't think a lot of people are exposed to it. But I'd say that being able to enlighten people and to be able to help out is just the greatest privilege.
The last report that we have here is that you had already gotten about 80 pieces of luggage. I mean, do you have a goal?
Yeah, my goal is around 150 to 200 bags, but I'm already at 150, so I'm pretty excited. Yeah.
Wow, congratulations on that, and for sure you're going to get so many more before your deadline here. And I mean, have you been in contact with DCFS or an agency that would be receiving these, and what was their response if so?
Yeah, all of my luggage is going to Lutheran Child and Family Services, and they have been amazing. They loved the idea, and they are willing to take it all, and I'm just so glad because a lot of people don't know about it, and I'm just glad I can help.
I think this is phenomenal. I really do. I really do. And I can only imagine the smile on a young person's face knowing that someone thought of them in this very special way. Tell me about your Eagle Scout journey. This is a piece of the whole.
Yeah. So I've been in Scouts for probably 5 years now, and I've loved every bit of it. It's great. I'm an only child, so I definitely had only child syndrome 5 years ago, and it really helped me come out of my cell and just be a much better person. I'm very much like my mom. We're both city people, but my dad and Scouts has really helped me be willing to get my hands dirty, both literally and figuratively. So.
What are some of the other things that you've been able to do with Scouts?
Oh, we've done so many fun things. I love going to our summer camp for 2 weeks. We'll tube. We run our own classes for my merit badges, and we get there's just so many unique opportunities that involve camping in the wilderness, and I think that it's a very uncommon skill. I wouldn't say you would be yeah, camping's a skill, but it's like a soft skill. It teaches you how to persevere when the rain comes down or something like that. It teaches you to be willing to expect the unexpected.
Talk us through a few of the patches that you have.
Okay, let's see here. I've got all these patches with the white around them are Eagle required badges. I believe we need to get 13 of those. And then let's see, down here, I've got some, the ones with the green rims are non-required. because scouting really wants you to become a diverse person, as well as like a leader, communicator, and stuff like that. So some of these required badges, we have like first aid, personal finance, cooking. Cooking's been my favorite. It was so fun. I have, for some of my non-required, I have theater, I have rowing and kayaking. I love kayaking too. So it's been great.
Kayaking's been on my list of summer activities for the past few years. I still haven't done it, but I'm looking forward to one day. Tell us what is in your future. I mean, you're a senior. What's next for you?
Yeah, well, next is just getting ready for all the college applications. I'm looking to study international business / marketing and Spanish. I'm looking at some dual degree programs for those, and we'll see where that takes me.
Do you have your list of colleges that you're hoping to get into?
Yes, my top school would be University of Pennsylvania, but that's a reach. So my second option would probably be Elon University in North Carolina. I love their dual degree program as well. And then after that, I'd say Butler University has like a new overseas program too. So I'm looking at all sorts of different programs.
Wow. Well, listen, I don't think, even for the one that's a reach, I don't think it would be a problem. And I think that anyone that looks at your application and sees especially what you're doing right now, and I know I'm saying this from a Christian perspective because you're there at Christ the King, but for the least of these, right? That what you are doing for those who are going through very difficult circumstances at such a young age, and being able to just give them a small special touch. College isn't just about the grades that you get, college entrance, exams and the applications. They're not just interested in you being a star academically, while that's important, but that they know that you're a good person who cares about other people, and you've got that sewn up. So continue doing the wonderful things that you're doing. You've already reached your goal for the suitcases, but I just know that you're going to have so many more, and you'll have to email us back and let us know how people help you out by the deadline.
Yes, I'm so thankful for this opportunity. It's amazing. Thank you.
Your mom should be so proud, because we're proud of you as well. Thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for joining us here on the show today to talk about it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been great.
All right, take care. Have a great rest of your summer.
Yes, you too.
I beam when we have the opportunity to speak with young people who are just doing great things in our area, and there are so many. And it's always great for us to be able to take time out. We have a lot of conversations about young people and the things that they don't get right. So it's really a highlight when we have the opportunity to talk about those who are doing great things. And for Grayson, not just something for himself, but something that will help other people as well, many young people. So let me just go back over this. The collection dates for his luggage drive will be at Christ the Parish this upcoming Saturday at 5 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. in the back of the church during the masses. They're going to be collecting these luggage donations. They can also be dropped off anytime before then. So if you're listening right now and your heart is compelled, you can do a drop off before the weekend at Christ the King Rectory during their rectory hours until June 21st. And the location for Christ the King, if you're unfamiliar, is 9235 South Hamilton Avenue here in Chicago. Again, Christ the King Parish, the address for it is 9235 South Hamilton Avenue here in the city of Chicago. What a bright young man, and I hope that he just continues to shine. As I said, his mother should be so proud. Let's take a quick break before we move on. right, coming up on 3:30 right now. You sat down just in time.
A lot of data to go through. I'm looking through a lot of stuff today.
It's a lot going on tomorrow.
Yeah, well, tomorrow's the big day.
Mm-hmm.
There's still some stuff today that we can't overlook, mainly in our Indiana counties.
Okay.
But the next 24, 36 hours are going to be very interesting, to say the least.
Walk us through.
So let's start with where we are right now. Here's, if I have it called up correctly, this is the latest outlook from the Storm Prediction Center for today. The risk of severe weather, again, mainly across our Indiana counties. That yellow color there is a level 2 risk. The concern is for some storms that may produce some quarter-size hail and gusty wind. In the last about half hour to 45 minutes, the severe thunderstorm watch has been placed out there for a few of those counties until 10 p.m. tonight. So I checked the radar a moment ago. Let me double check here offhand to see how it looks. There were a couple of storms out over Lake Michigan. Yeah, they're over Lake Michigan right now. So that's not a huge issue, but the concern is something else may bubble in about the next 2, 3, 4 hours. I really think, I mean, that watch goes until 10. That 10 p.m. time frame is more so for counties outside of our viewing area. I think for our areas tonight, the threat is gone by probably 6, 7 o'clock. That's it. If you're on the Illinois side of life, no issues tonight. No showers, no storms tonight. But let's jump into the big thing. This is what's so there's a lot to go through here, and obviously colors jump out and everything else like that. How do I break this down? So multiple rounds of storms tomorrow. The storms we get in the morning, I don't believe will be severe. The severe window is tomorrow afternoon, after about 3 o'clock. But there are so many caveats, and this is what I was working on before I ran up here, is there's 2 different scenarios, and I'm working on a graphic to try to showcase this. If the stuff that we have tomorrow morning into the afternoon lingers longer, that's a good thing. It would reduce our threat for nasty storms tomorrow evening, tomorrow night. If the morning to midday stuff clears out quickly, if it isn't as widespread, that's not good news. Anywhere that we get sunshine tomorrow, even just a little bit, is going to destabilize the atmosphere. And there are so many dynamics coming together in the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere. That area in red, that's a level 4 out of 5 risk. There are some dynamics in play. The wording from the National Weather Service is they believe there will be long-lived, long-track, intense tornadoes tomorrow.
Oh my goodness.
So the phrasing of this is, and I'm going to be blunt and transparent, it's kind of cute. I mean, they're dancing around the whole idea, but the bottom line is there may be enough things in place tomorrow that if what we saw last week Thursday could pale in comparison to this.
Really?
There could be some very intense storms in some areas tomorrow, and that's why this has many of us meteorologists kind of on edge, because what exactly is going to happen? And this is, since we're nearing the 4th of July, this is almost like a fireworks situation where you're going to have a lot of stuff. This powder keg is going to be ready to blow. So many dynamics here. It's just, will it get the trigger? Will it get the ignition that it needs? That ignition would be ample amounts of sunshine. We're going to have everything else in play tomorrow for some very nasty storms. Now, again, I'm kind of focusing on that red-colored area, which include areas like Kankakee toward LaSalle. Same areas they got hit last week Thursday, mind you. Now, not to be outdone, city of Chicago through Gary, through Joliet, in this orange color, that's a level 3. That's still respectable. Even our northernmost counties, level 2. That's respectable. If we're not getting individual storm cells producing hook echoes and tornadoes, damaging wind gusts, similar to last week, 60, 70, 80 miles per hour. So this is ugly. I mean, this is similar to Thursday. We could have widespread power outages once again. We could have people running for shelter. There are so many things and events. We're getting into the summertime. People are out and about. Even though it's in the middle of the week, there are still a lot of things.
A lot of visitors.
On a Wednesday.
And especially a lot of people coming in town Wednesday and Thursday because the Obama Center opens to the public on Friday. The ceremonies will be on Thursday. So I'm already getting messages from people like, oh, I'll be here on the 18th, you know, that kind of thing. And Juneteenth, you know, that's coming up. So we got a lot of people who are coming into town.
Yeah, and this is not the Chamber of Commerce weather to welcome them into the area, unfortunately. But again, there are still some variables in place. Things could change. I mean, I know this sounds like doom and gloom, but it's one of those, let's prepare for the worst so we're ready for it.
Yeah, hope for the best.
And if it doesn't materialize or if it's somewhere in the middle, hey, great. But the thought process as of this minute, this moment is We're going to have watches and we're going to have warnings tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
There will likely be multiple warnings for tornadoes tomorrow. And when these do happen, they may happen quick. We saw that in some instances last week. The rotation got itself together and these things went from nothing to something in a hurry. So I hope what happened last week Thursday is kind of a heads up, a red flag that, hey, if my area is under one of these warnings, I should probably get to shelter.
Wow.
I should have my phone charged up. I should have these things ready to go and be prepared. What's your plan B or C if you do lose power?
I'm just thinking about the people who are still without power.
Yes, and there are still a couple of thousand at least that are still without power.
Yeah.
And this may complicate that.
And the efforts that are still happening to clean up from last week.
Well, my worry is, like I said, this is going to happen in the same areas that got hit. You think of all the work these crews have done and the things these people have gone through. What if it happens again? Same neighborhoods, same towns. It's like, my goodness. That is just, that's heartbreaking. And so we're not rooting for the storms here by any means at all. I'm not saying, oh, I'm so geeked out to get a storm. No, it's like, this is what we're seeing. It's our job as meteorologists to say, listen, here's what's on the table. Here's this extreme of what could happen. Be prepared for it. Now, I hope it doesn't happen. I hope it's just garden variety thunderstorms, maybe a couple of little tree branches down here and there, and we go, whew, we dodged that one. Those guys overhyped it. Yep, sure enough. Yeah, we overhyped it. Fine, great. But my worry is that we're going to get a couple of storms that do some damage.
Yeah, and I don't think we can overhype after what just happened.
Yeah.
And again, in the midst of cleanup efforts that are ongoing.
Well, I will tell you, just in retrospect, we heard a lot of that leading up to Thursday of last week. People going, oh, you guys, it's going to be a dud. Nothing's going to happen. And
it's not a dud.
And we got to 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We hadn't seen much. And I recall Mike Kaplan and I were on the air watching these hook echoes form, and he was going, oh, this is happening quick. And before we knew it, we had 3 or 4 tornado warnings just all of a sudden pop up. And then we had the confirmation of this isn't just some skinny rope tornado. This is a large tornado.
And EF3. I mean, we really don't see or report on EF3s in our region very often.
No, and we had 2 of them, one in Illinois, one in Indiana, and I know those 2 are kind of taking the headlines, but let's not overlook we had an EF2 in Hickory Hills to Midway Airport. That's very close to the city, and a lot of times people get complacent. Oh, it's not going to hit the city. The buildings, the lake, the what? No.
There was actually video of people like rushing to get off a plane. They were supposed to be taken off, and they were rushing to get off of the plane, and now you understand why.
Yeah, I recall Mike and I were on the air last week, and we got that video in, and we're like, well, why are they getting them off the plane? Now we know what it was, is they had some rotation heading for the airport, and you don't want to be on an airplane during a tornado. So it was a interesting and wild week last week. I worry that tomorrow could be very similar. So again, I just want folks to be prepared and be ready. There's still many things that can change. We're still 24 plus hours out from this system, this event. There is some stuff that could ebb and could flow, and I also don't want to lose fact of we're honing in on tomorrow evening for the worst of the storms. But don't wake up tomorrow thinking, there's going to be stuff tomorrow morning and midday tomorrow. So it could be one of those days where it's raining like buckets. And that's the other thing, too. There could be some flooding in some cases. We don't want to overlook that. So everything's on the table for tomorrow.
Yeah. When I got out today, and even when I came in here today, you could still hear it. It was very windy outside. Is that like a precursor, or that's totally separate?
That's different. This was just a windy day because of the overall setup. But there is, to get a little geeky for a second, the wind is the big component. And I'm going to try to find, if I can, a way to show this graphically. It's very difficult, but winds at the surface are going one direction. A couple thousand feet up, they're going slightly a different direction. A few more thousand feet up, they're backing, as we call it, with height. That's putting twist in the atmosphere. And the way it looks from the surface to the mid-levels, it's a classic perfect storm setup of exactly what you need for long-lived tornado formation that these things feed off of for tomorrow. So our lower level winds, while they won't be super strong tomorrow, they'll be in a direction when coupled with the mid to upper level winds, it's the recipe for tornadoes tomorrow, unfortunately. So.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
So there is that.
It was also cloudy earlier.
Yes.
And we have the sun now.
Yes.
Are we expecting any rain today?
Rain today in the Indiana counties. And that's where that's going to be for today. Most of us on the Illinois side, we're done. No rain for us to deal with.
That's the 10 p.m. for them.
That watch that's in place for our Indiana counties. And the rest of the night tonight's quiet. It's comfortable. Tomorrow, aside from the storms, temperatures will be a struggle because we're also banking on a warm front to come in. That warm front's going to trigger some of these storms. Newest data says it may not make it, the warm air may not make it to Chicago. I've got 70 on the board. I've seen some numbers that are suggesting we only hit 65 or 66 tomorrow.
Would the warmer temperatures only complicate the situation
Yes,
even more?
And that's exactly the warmer that it is, the more
Yeah.
sunshine we get. So that's why I'm optimistic that for those Chicago, say over toward the western burbs, and certainly north, while the overall threat for severe weather won't be as great or as absurd as what's going to be to the south, there might be a stronger storm or two. Wind damage, the biggest thing. But you go south, I mean, temperatures could easily be 10, 15 degrees warmer in some cases. The dynamics are there for this to be more robust. And then while we're on the graphic there, at least we get a couple of days where it's dry, quiet, and comfortable. So if we are cleaning up from storm debris and damage, at least we have decent weather for that before more rain comes in on Sunday. I know we have Juneteenth celebrations. Juneteenth is on Friday, but there are celebrations going on
Throughout the
Saturday,
weekend,
even on Sunday as well. Sunday Father's Day, Sunday first full day of summer. It's not going to feel like it with the rain ongoing, but then by Monday, Tuesday, things do get better. So it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to digest, but our main focus, and rightfully so, is going to be on these next 24 to 36 hours with this storm system coming in for tomorrow.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Yeah. It's the season. I mean,
'tis the season.
we bellyache in the wintertime because we get those nasty winter storms, we get the ice and whatever else, and now
But we only get like 30 good days of summer, man.
I know, that's it. And that's all we ever get. It's either too hot or too cold, it's either too humid, it's storming, or it's too windy. We get nothing. And if I could be even more of a Debbie Downer during this program, let me remind you that Father's Day, this Sunday, start of summer, that is where we have equal daylight. And then after that, our daylight hours start getting shorter.
No, you're taking us way down the Debbie Downer. No.
I know. So I'm glad I come in here and lighten everything up for you on this Wednesday.
That really is the Debbie Downer.
Let me finish it with this.
Oh my goodness.
There's no major heat or humidity for this week. At least we have some decent temperatures.
You know what? I was looking at the temperatures and I was like, well, at least we can give our AC a bit of a break because mine was cranking last week.
Oh, I know. Yeah, mine was too. I don't want to see that power bill when it shows up at the end of the month. And the overnights are comfortably cool as well. Just watch out again for rain coming in tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. Well, at the very least, we are prepared.
Yes.
And that's very important,
Yes.
regardless of everything else.
And my plan is to come back around this time tomorrow if we're not eyebrows deep in warnings and kind of give you the absolute latest on what's about to come, but it's possible around this hour tomorrow. Things are popping.
If you're eyebrows deep in warnings tomorrow, you'll be seeing him and not me.
I'll try to balance things out. I'll try.
If it gets that bad, you'll be seeing him.
I'm sorry.
They will take it over.
I'm sorry.
But it's, again, the safety and security of everyone is the most important thing. So no, sorry. We are happy that you were so in tune with everything, and for sure you all called everything last week. You prepared us last week. Destruction of homes is one thing, but lives is a different thing. We can't get you back. We can't get us back, but we can build. Build other things back. So thank you so much for coming up, getting us ready. Buckle up, everybody. All right, give us 2 minutes and we'll be back. Okay, welcome back, everyone. 3:45 right now, and while we wait on our final guest for the hour to talk about some of the new development that's happening in Gary, we just got the lineup of artists for the aforementioned Obama Presidential Center grand opening ceremonies that'll be happening on Thursday. And wow. So let's talk about this for a moment, because this really is a milestone that will be happening for the city of Chicago, but also for the country, as the Obama Presidential Center gets ready to open to the public on Friday, Juneteenth. And there is so much history behind all that will be happening this week. In fact, the opening ceremony is going to be on the John Lewis Plaza. So let's go over the list of artists here. The Roots, the one and only Bruce Springsteen, Christina Aguilera, Common, of course. You know, can't have a major moment in Chicago and not include a couple of Chicago born and raised folks on the list. Eddie Vedder, going back to the Chicago born and raised, EGOT, Jennifer Hudson, joined by another EGOT, John Legend, Hall of Famer, freedom fighter, Stevie Wonder, Mark Anthony, Tim's for the younger generation, U2's Bono, and The Edge. Marsai Martin is going to be a part of the program as well. If you don't know her, she's an actress and producer, young woman who we've watched from wee little girl to now grown young woman who is doing phenomenal things in Hollywood. And this is just a list of people who are going to be at the mic. You know that it's going to be filled with dignitaries and others who will be there for, again, such a special moment for the city and for the country. The grand opening ceremony that Valerie Jarrett, the CEO of the Obama Foundation, says will be like none other. Filled with music, performances, but most of all, the through line of it all that has been the through line for President Obama since his early candidacy to now, which will be hope. You know, that really will be the central topic of the day, I'm sure. We will continue to hear about the essence of hope and how that has played such a pivotal role in what we will experience on Friday. I'm actually going to be helping with our coverage on Thursday for the grand opening ceremony. So looking forward to what will be an inspiring day, I'm sure, of people who will come from near and far to witness this moment for the Obamas, but also, again, for the country and for the world. There will be international dignitaries, global leaders who will be there as well to be a part of this, and they are just as important as just everyday folks here in Chicago that will be able to pop over. I mean, if you live on any part of Chicago, you'll be able to pop over to what will now be the OPC very easily for many years to come. I mean, it is creating another museum campus in our area there in Jackson Park, a beautiful area. And even Metra, we were just talking right around this time yesterday about Metra having more lines that will be going from downtown, the Loop, Millennium Station, down to Hyde Park and hitting 51st, 52nd, 53rd Street, so that you're more easily able to commute between the two, because we do know that as with any other major center opening, there will be traffic. So that's another part of it. So there are great things to come. And again, we're going to be walking you through it all. Hopefully this is going to be on the opposite side of that ugly weather that we're anticipating, but we're going to let you know every step of the way. Our final guest is here for the day. Sherry Ziller is the president and CEO of Northwest Indiana Regional Development Authority, and boy, have they been busy. Thanks so much for joining us.
Such a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you so much.
So I've spoken with your mayor very frequently about the revitalization that's happening in Gary and the momentum that this is creating in the area. Talk about the latest development here. There is, there's something that's coming and something that's going.
Sure. So this is a really big deal. This is a long time coming. And here at the RDA, we are very excited about the transformation that is occurring here. So just really quick on, who we are and why we're even involved in this and, our relationship with the mayor of Gary to get this project underway finally after decades of talk about it. So our organization is the Northwest Indiana Regional Development Authority. We're the regional economic development organization in Northwest Indiana. We were created in 2006 by the state of Indiana. Our job essentially is to fund transformative infrastructure projects in Northwest Indiana. We were part of the runway extension at the Gary Chicago International Airport. That was finished back in 2015. That has since supported a huge amount of growth in the cargo operations there. We've invested over $140 million in shoreline revitalization projects, restoring beaches. We were able to draw in additional dollars and leverage up to well north of $200 million and building new facilities all along revitalizing the Lake Michigan shoreline. Our latest efforts have been focusing on, say, the past 10-12 years, expanding commuter rail expansion here in Northwest Indiana. We've double-tracked the South Shore Line all the way to Michigan City. We just opened the Monon Corridor earlier this year. That'll run from Hammond, Indiana to Dyer. That is a great project. It results in faster and more frequent, more consistent services to and from the loop to get people in Indiana to and from their jobs. And what we're doing now is currently spinning up a bunch of new programs to take advantage of transit-oriented development that the better rail service that we now have is bringing. And, the demolition of the Genesis Center and that parking garage in downtown Gary, which is right, the reason I brought up the Gary Metro Station is right across the street. So that's part of those initiatives.
And this Gary Genesis Center, it's hosted, the likes, we were just talking about President Obama. One of his rallies there when he was a candidate was there at this particular facility. Concerts by Prince, Whitney Houston. It has had quite a run.
It really has. And I do understand and I can appreciate the sentimental value of it. The Genesis Center demolition, it's really part of a larger multi-million-dollar program. It includes $12 million specifically for downtown demolitions. There's another $15 million we're drawing in from the state of Indiana through the Lilly Endowment to leverage downtown and surrounding area development efforts. And the site is also on what we call transit development districts. So in those districts, the RDA, in partnership with the city of Gary, we can really leverage local taxes and redevelopment to make way for the quality of development that the city of Gary would like to see and that the RDA would like to see. So, to really aid in these efforts, back to that Gary Metro, the Gary Metro project. So they have a revitalization board and they just met for the first time. So we're revving up, things are ramping up. So they met for the first time in April to launch what's expected to be a substantial project to build a new Gary Metro station right in downtown Gary. So that Metro station, it's a hub for both rail and bus transit, including the South Shore Line, the Gary Public Transportation Corporation, and the Greyhound bus service. So what the state of Indiana did, it was pretty remarkable, to be honest. They've set aside $75 million for the Gary Metro project in matching funds. So we've been working with Mayor Melton. We're working with the city to secure their match and to move forward with that project. So with anticipation of the full match coming in, that station and related development is expected to exceed $150 million. So considering that the Genesis center site is directly adjacent to the Metro Center, there's really an opportunity to leverage the public and private dollars that's going to benefit all.
Yeah, I'm sure that people had, ties to this for many years, but it had been closed since 2020, and it seems like was in disrepair at that point in time. So hopefully what is to come will be talked about and of use to people in the area and in the region for many years to come.
Sure. And, we may be losing the Genesis Convention Center with lots of great memories and significance attached to that. But let's not forget that the city of Gary and all of Northwest Indiana, we will benefit from a brand new convention center at Hard Rock Casino. So that will be located in Gary, and we are ready to start design, and we're getting those match dollars together. And as soon as we can start that project here in a few years, we're going to have a brand new convention center still in Gary, Indiana, and all of Northwest Indiana and alike can enjoy that project.
Sherry, thank you so much for joining us to tell us about it. Can't wait to see all of it coming to fruition.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Take care. 3:56, give us 2 minutes and we'll be back to close out the show. Welcome back, everyone, and thanks so much for being here with us for another day of Chicago Live. We will be right back here from 1 to 4. We anticipate, let me say that, being right back here from 1 to 4 p.m. You heard us, though, talking about, in all seriousness, the possibility of some severe weather in our area tomorrow. If major warnings pop up, we will preempt what is going on in our conversations to get to our weather. We'll see you tomorrow.